Everybody should have the right to draw the line of privacy. Alexandra Eala addresses cameras and public scrutiny. Alexandra Eala has addressed the growing scrutiny that comes with life on the professional tennis circuit, emphasizing the importance of privacy in an era of constant cameras and social media exposure. Her comments come in the wake of controversy surrounding Coco Gauff at the Australian Open, where the American was caught on camera smashing her racket. The recent episode of Coco Gauff breaking a racket in the locker rooms after a heavy quarterfinal defeat to Alina Svitolina, in what she believed was a private moment without cameras, ended up generating a wide discussion about cameras at tournaments and private spaces for players. The incident involving the two-time Grand Slam champion brought various responses from the tennis world. Iga Swiatek supported the American, saying, "Are we tennis players or animals in a zoo?" in a press conference, while Serena Williams sent her support to Gauff through social media. This time it was Eala, in an interview with The National, who addressed the pressure players experience under the constant scrutiny of cameras. The 20-year-old Filipina, widely regarded as one of Asia's most promising talents, spoke candidly about adjusting to increased attention as her profile continues to rise on the WTA Tour. Privacy in the spotlight. Eala described the adjustment to life under near-constant observation as an ongoing process. With smartphones often pointed at her during public appearances, she admitted that privacy can feel compromised, even in routine situations. "I am learning to deal with a lot of these cameras, and a lot of the times when people see me, the phone is the first thing they reach out for. Which is something that I have to adjust to." The Filipina emphasized that the issue extends beyond tennis results or on-court behavior. For her, the broader question concerns personal autonomy in defining limits. She noted that fame can blur those boundaries, particularly for young athletes transitioning into global recognition. "I do value privacy a lot. I think everyone has the right to their own privacy, and sometimes being a public figure, the lines are a little bit blurred." Eala went further, suggesting that athletes do not always control how much of their lives becomes public. In an environment where tournament coverage, behind-the-scenes footage, and fan recordings are commonplace, distinguishing professional from personal space can be difficult. Or sometimes I can understand that we don't have the power to draw our own line. I think everybody should have the right to draw the line of privacy. From junior number one to global attention, Eala has become one of the crowd favorites over the past year, emerging as one of the young talents who has attracted the most attention. The former junior number one continues her search for consistency on the tour, where she has already achieved her best ranking inside the top 40 and aims to keep climbing positions. This week Eala made her debut at the WTA 1000 Qatar Open and ended up falling in the first round to 17-year-old teenager Teresa Valentova. Eala missed a good opportunity to add ranking points. At just 20 years old, she has already established herself as the most successful Filipino tennis player of all time, holding multiple records for her early achievements, including becoming the first Filipino to enter the top 100, the first to defeat former Grand Slam champions, to defeat top 10 rivals, and the first to reach the semifinals of a WTA 1000 event. Her next challenge will be next week at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, another WTA 1000 tournament where she will make her debut. Already in her first participation in Qatar, despite not being among the seeded players, the organization opted to place Eala on center court, something that could be repeated this week in Dubai, considering the large crowds the Filipina attracts. Everybody should have the right to draw the line of privacy. A reflection on Alexandra Eala's stand against cameras and public scrutiny. In this age of ceaseless documentation, where every moment can be captured, posted, screenshot, replayed, and analyzed, privacy has become not only a luxury but a form of resistance. The modern world thrives on visibility, and so often we are encouraged to believe that exposure equals opportunity, that cameras validate existence. Yet, within this digital clamor, voices are rising to remind us, visibility should never be a demand upon someone's dignity. Privacy is a boundary we each must be allowed to place and protect. One such voice belongs to Alexandra Eala, a young tennis star who has faced both the bright lights of international sport and the harsh glare of public scrutiny. Her perspective, that everybody should have the right to draw the line of privacy, resonates deeply because it confronts the fundamental tension between public life and personal selfhood. It pushes us to ask, why do we think we have the right to see everything? And what is lost when we stop asking for permission to look? The age of the unblinking lens cameras are everywhere. They hover in stadiums, peer from streetlights, nestle inside phones and drones, and livestream without consent. At first glance, this might feel like progress, democratic access to documentation, evidence of truth in an era of misinformation, and a platform for voices long suppressed. And yet, with this proliferation comes a cost, the erosion of personal boundaries. Think of the athlete, for instance. When a tennis player like Alexandra steps onto the court, millions watch. Every serve, every expression, every moment of triumph or despair becomes public property. In today's culture, audiences often feel entitled to this visibility. We want to know not only how the athlete plays, but how she lives, eats, sleeps, tweets, and reacts in her downtime. The very person becomes framed, captioned, tagged, and assessed. The problem is not the admiration, it's the assumption that admiration justifies intrusion. Popularity does not revoke the right to privacy. Respect for achievement does not mean one should be surveilled at all times. Alexandra's stance serves as an important reminder. Even public figures are human beings with inner lives that deserve shelter from the constant lens. Point 2. The human behind the headlines. Imagine this. You are walking down a street in your hometown. You made the news once, not for anything scandalous, just a small achievement. A journalist recognizes you and starts filming. Passers-by stop to record. Within hours, a clip circulates online. You wake up the next day to comments about your walk, your clothes, your expression. You did nothing except exist in public, even without fame. Modern life is fraught with unintended broadcast. A casual moment, waiting at a bus stop, hugging a loved one, reading in a park, can suddenly become content for millions. For public figures like Alexandra Eala, this is magnified by every success, every challenge, every interview. She understands, perhaps more than most, that cameras can be both blessing and burden. They document excellence but also invade intimacy. Her call for everyone to be able to draw the line of privacy is not a rejection of public life. Rather, it is an affirmation of personal agency, the idea that visibility should be chosen, not assumed. It's a call to honor the private spaces of the mind and heart just as much as we celebrate public achievement. 3. Why boundaries matter. Privacy is not about secrecy, it's about safety, respect, and autonomy.